another comparison between, but amazing, very surprising, between a metaphysical poet of the 17th century, Donne, and the film James Cameron, Interstellar. we can be sure that everybody knows at least the film, the movie. So please.
It's an irony that I'm going to talk about time and space at a time when time is running out. A time when chronos timing is running out. Anyway, the title of my paper is Critical Theory and its Transcontinental Connection with the Doing of Literature, a study of cartography of time and space in Donne's The Good Morrow and the film Interstellar. Well, I would like to begin with a quote from Blanchon, when he says, "L'absence de temps n'est pas une mode purement négative." When he says that the absence of time is not a purely negative mode. It is a time, c'est le temps, which is nothing, in which nothing begins. Ce n'est pas comme us. Le temps n'est pas comme us. In which initiative is not possible, that before the affirmation there is already the recurrence of affirmation. Rather than a purely negative mode, it is a time without negation, without decision, where here, the ici, where here is also nowhere. When each thing withdraws into its image, and I, that we are, recognizes itself as it sinks into the neutrality of a faceless he. The time of the absence of time. So we are talking about the time of the absence of time is without a present, without a presence. Son présent ne se réfère pas à un passé. This is a without present, however, does not refer to a past. So the present tense does not talk about the passé composé. Ce n'est pas le passé. So, the aspects of time and space in different schools of philosophy are concerned with the issues surrounding the ontology, epistemology, and the character of space and time. Time in relation to literature has more philosophical appendages than its relation to history and physics. The absence of time... Shall I speak slowly? The absence of time, as Blanchon points out, is my chief argument in relation to Donne's Good Morrow and the film Interstellar. Both show that time, or the absence of time, is not dialectical. Le temps de l'absence de temps n'est pas dialectique. The scope of studying the cartography of time and space in the poem The Good Morrow by John Donne confronts us with 5 dimensions: existence in a wormhole, an alternate timeline, things we associate with physics. Now we all know what are the 5 dimensions. The first dimension is the length, the second dimension is when we add the breadth to the length, third dimension is when we add the height, and fourth is when we perceive it from a timeline. And as we know, in case of being in third dimension space, we can see the 3 dimensions. So when we speak from the 4th dimension, we can see one timeline in which all the events are taking place. But when we are talking about the 5th dimension, we are talking about all possible timelines. And by all possible timelines, which is labeled by Einstein as possibility. In the poem Good Morrow, we see one timeline of 1571 when Donne is actually born in Chronos time of the 4th dimension. An alternate timeline when the speaker of the poem, Donne of another timeline, is born as he falls in love with the listener of this monologue, his beloved. And it is the 5th dimension which is given to us. The readers are to see Good Morrow to our waking souls as the birth of the speaker done in Kairos timing. It is a phenomenological time when time has ceased to function in chronological order. This is what Blanchon refers in l'absence de temps, that is the absence of time, and the presence of the absence, le présence de l'absence. Thus the lines, I wander by my troth, what thou and I did till we loved, is not the result of amnesia of the previous times of endless yesterdays, but the result of being inside the wormhole, where the time ceases to function in a circadian clockwork. Now, when we talk about he being inside the wormhole, we can face the question, why not inside the black hole? Now, if he was inside the black hole, and if he would have gone to the orbit of planet, then he would never have returned. His return singularizes that his entry was not into the black hole, but in the wormhole. And as he entered the wormhole, the poem acts as a tesseract. The poem acts as a tesseract, and he travels in an alternity of time and space, which allows a spectral access to multiple possible timelines. And that is why he says that I wonder by my troth what thou and I did till we loved. Were we not weaned till then, but sucked on country pleasures childishly, or snorted we in the seven slippers' den? Now, seven slippers' den, as we can know, could be the wormhole that he's referring to, from which he comes out. Just like in the film Interstellar, we see that Cooper comes out from the Gargantua. This seven slippers den can well be the wormhole where he had fallen, and the phrase sucked on country pleasures childishly refers to a high gravity field which has slowed the time to almost a standstill. Still, as Brashaw discusses this condition very specifically, this time is not the ideal immobility that is glorified under the name of eternal. In the region we are trying to approach, here is submerged in nowhere. Ici, ce n'est pas du tout. So is that the here is submerged. It's there, it's within that. Nowhere. Present, it arrives but does not stop arriving, as though by arriving it rendered sterile the time that permits it to arrive. The dead present is the impossibility of realizing a presence, an impossibility that is present, that is there as that which doubles every present. The shadow of the present, l'ombre de la présence, which present carries and hides in itself. Einstein eventually identified the property of space-time, which is responsible for gravity as its curvature. Space and time in Einstein's universe are no longer flat, as implicitly assumed by Newton, but can be pushed and pulled, stretched and warped by matter. Gravity feels strongest where space-time is most curved, and it vanishes where space-time is flat. In the poem The Good Morrow by Donne, the gravity is represented by his relationship with the listener, his beloved, a centrifugal force, which helped him to curve the space-time at its most, and therefore his time before he met his beloved can be assumed very less in proportion to his actual time that has elapsed on Earth before meeting his beloved. Similarly, the time spent by Cooper in the film Interstellar when he is inside Gargantua is 7 times less than the actual time elapsed in the Earth. The experience of time and temporal duration is central to mood, feeling, and emotional state of the poem, The Good Morrow, and the film Interstellar. In the film, Cooper's crew, consisting of scientist Romilly, Doyle, Grant's daughter Emilia, and robot Tarson Case, transverse through the wormhole, comes near to the Miller's planet, an ocean world where time is severely dilated because of its proximity to Gargantua. For each hour there, 7 years pass on the Earth. Like the speaker, Donne in the poem, Cooper too snorted in the seven sleepers' den as he remains inside the Gargantua, and in terms of Brashaw, he is in the l'absence de le temps, in the absence of time, and thus the time of the absence of time is without presence. Slipping past the event horizon, Cooper and Terse find themselves inside a tesseract, which resembles a stream of bookshelves. Just like when we are reading the poem is acting as a tesseract, and we can see as Cooper was seeing Murphy through the bookcase, we are able to see his timeline, this 1571, and the time he met his beloved through the poem acting as a tesseract. Now, if you want to take it in a mathematical term, mathematically speaking, O to the function of n2 stands for a set of functions exactly for all those functions, quote, in the long run, do not grow faster than the function of n2. That is, for those functions in which function n2 is an upper bound, apart from a constant factor. To be precise, the following holds true. a function f is an element of the set of O function n2 if there are factor precise, the following holds true, and C as an integer number with n0 such that for all n equal to or greater than is n0, the following holds true. F to the function of n is less than equal to C, that is constant time, multiplied by n2. Frequently the statement is found in the manual that an operation takes constant time. By this relation, it means that this particular operation is executed with a constant number of instructions independent from the size of input. The function describing the running time behavior is therefore O to the function of 1. The expression linear time and logarithmic time describes correspondent running time behaviors. By means of O notation, this is what I was thinking about the doing of literature in my paper, the O notation factor, the mathematical implication of the concept of moving through different timelines. That is the doing, the interpreting literature there. By means of O notation, this is often expressed as takes time O to the function of n and O to the function of log n respectively. The linear time and logarithmic time Donne has spent weaned and sucked on country pleasures childishly, and Cooper on the other hand remains in alternate timeline, yet in the same space as his daughter Murphy, and helps her to crack the code and solve the equation of gravity by unifying the gravity equation on quantum as well as a relativistic scale. And the quantum scale, Renaissance at that time has released the quantum energies, and the quantum movement of the particles in Donne's poem is inside his relationship. That is why we cannot talk about the Petrarchan love here. It is more a quantum release of different timelines that we see in the poem, and that is why Donne says, to quote, "For love or love of all other sides control." Now, what is this controlling? This control is not the forceful control. It's a control from the, as I was talking about the O notation factor, it is the control of the timelines. And makes one little room and everywhere. The space becomes space becomes zero. Now we all know the mathematical implication that if time becomes infinite, because time is equal to 1 by n. So if time becomes infinite, then definitely the space becomes zero. So one room everywhere. Let sea discoverers to new worlds have gone. Let maps to other worlds on worlds have shown. Let us possess one space. They are talking about infinite time and one space. Let us possess one world and each have one and is one. Both Donne and Cooper end up in 3D projection of a 5D space, a fifth dimensional space. And the only thing that could flow through the dimension is the effect of gravity. That is, as I said, the relationship. As I said, the relationship is the gravity which binds us and curves the time. That is why it is often said to the parents that children never grow up, because the gravity field is so high, the time is curved, and therefore the child doesn't ever grow up after a particular time. Thus, we can see that the work of exploration of the configuration and incarnation of literature over interdisciplinary instrument and cross-cultural strengths can take a metaphysical poem like Good Morrow to be studied along with the 21st century film Interstellar using time and space.